Right. Contenders, are you ready?
Yes.
Yep.
We do have an agreement about the Mandalorian song, though, for other videos, don't we?
That agreement has yet to be agreed.
Okay.
Uh, you,
How many likes do we have to get on the video for you to agree to
you're going to
it?
have to record it first, so that we can listen to it and then go from there. And if we're really good, we might put it up for our viewers and listeners to judge whether we use it on a more permanent or ongoing basis. So,
So I think you'd have to have some video with all three of us in it.
yeah. Plus, it can't be
Doing-
too good, because if it's too good, we might risk the YouTube copyright strikes and all that kind of jazz. So it's got to be suitably original, I suppose. In
I'm not concerned. I think it's good. I think it will be suitably original.
Fair enough. Hello and welcome to another episode of Unlimited Power TCG. In this episode, you have myself and Andy, my new co-host, joining you to talk about the Qui-Gon Jinn Spotlight deck that has been released. A pre-constructed deck of 50 cards for MSRP of 30 or 35 quid, give or take. Comes with an extra booster pack inside, as well as some card tokens. Here is the deck list itself for what the pre-constructed deck is supposed to come with. You got what, 4 or 5 cards from previous sets reprinted in here. 5 rares in it, just like the Darth Maul deck we looked at in another video, where we've done the same sort of thing. Link to this video will be in the video description below. Any thoughts on the deck itself as it's built, Andy?
It's a nice deck, but Qui Gon's ability can be better used. It tries to use the when played ability. So there's a lot of cards in here that basically, when they're played, they do something,
Hmm.
and it very heavily tries to use that within the deck. And I just think there's a better archetype there.
Maul is very simple in that it was still all about hitting and doing damage, but Qui-Gon's leader ability, where you can spend the Force and bring a character that you've played onto the board back, a unit that you've played onto the board back into your hand, and then play a cheaper unit for free, sounds very complicated to try and make the most of to me. I was a bit scared of it, I must confess.
It's a little bit complicated, but yeah, let's have a look at what you put together with it.
Okay, cool. So before, oh yeah, there we go. Sorry. The Spotlight decks come with a card that they never used to, which is a list of tips and tricks on how to play it that the developers have written. So at least if you're picking this up from scratch, you'll have some idea of what you want to do with the deck or what the developers are advising you to do with the deck. But yeah, my deck. So looking at this was a bit difficult. There was a couple of ways I could have gone with it. The first way I wanted to go was actually changing the base, staying with Qui-Gon Jinn yellow, um, because he's yellow hero, and green, but going to the rare 25 hit point base instead that allows you to create the Force with an action up to 3 times each game. Because I figured that would free you from needing Force units on the board and would make you a lot more able to make use of all the other powerful when played cards that aren't necessarily Force ones. Um, but I figured that doing that was a bit cheating because we're all about upgrading the Spotlight deck itself. So I went back and focused primarily on Force units that have effects that happen when played or are ambushing, which is essentially a when played ability, or affect Force units in the abilities that they have inherently in them. So you want to get the Force as often as you can every single turn, which means having Force units on the board in order to attack, or effects that will gain you the Force. So the turn one plays on here, we've got 3 copies of Anakin Skywalker, which comes in the Spotlight deck anyway. He's hidden, so he can't be ambushed on turn one, and he's shielded, so he's really quite resilient and very likely to survive until turn two in order to attack and gain you the Force. Gungi as a 2/5 for 2 is also very survivable. Even if you're playing against a Cad Bane Tarkin Town deck, it's still very difficult for them to kill him through the Cad ping and doing 3 damage with McClunky or something. That's 4 damage and isn't quite the 5. Mysterious Hermit is another 2-drop that allows you to gain the Force immediately on turn 1, because if your opponent has the initiative and they play a unit, you can then ambush in with that. It's not going to kill them doing 1 damage, or it's unlikely to kill them doing 1 damage, but it will gain you the Force because it attacks immediately, which means that gaining the Force immediately is really good. You don't need to worry about getting it in turn 2. And Youngling Padawan is a 2-drop that gains you the Force immediately when it's played. It's a 2/3 and is a Force unit, so could continue to gain you the Force as the game goes on. Sorry. Maz Kanata isn't Force herself, but when played you may attack with a Force unit that gains +2 for the attack. Synergies there, you could replay it using Qui-Gon's ability, or draw it and play it later on in the game through Keller and Beck, and then attack with another unit for +2. Obi-Wan Kenobi is a special rarity card that is exclusive to this Spotlight deck, unless you get it in foils or hyperspaces through normal boosters. And when you play him or any other Force unit, it gains Sentinel, so again you get the ability to get an extra benefit from him every time you play the card or replay the card using Qui-Gon's ability. Venestra Row also has a special when played, which is you may use the Force and ready it. Doesn't really synergize with Qui-Gon's ability itself, because you have to use the Force to use his ability, and you have to use the Force to use hers. So, not the best synergy in the world, but being able to play her on 3 and ready her and attack for 3 straight away is really, really useful, as anyone who's played Cassian Andor in the Red Hero will be able to say.
And
Ahsoka... Oh, sorry?
Falcon, the Falcon as well.
Yeah, yeah.
The Millennium Falcon comes in, untaps,
Yep.
And is ready to attack. The benefit with her, of course, is as long as you can get to her next turn, you just attack with her and you get the Force back. So
Yeah, exactly. Being able to do damage the turn you play it is invaluable. It really is, especially when you get to the late game. Moving on to the 4-drops, we've got 3 of them here. I've left Luke Skywalker in the deck because you are playing and replaying, potentially, a lot of unique units later on in the game, so you could power him up quite substantially, getting an experience and a shield every time you trigger his ability. Jedi Temple Guards being an ambush unit, just like the earlier ambusher, the Mysterious Hermit, means that you can attack with it immediately on playing it, so you could gain the Force right then and there and restore 2 at the same time, which is very tasty. And Ahsoka's ability, if you get to play that or replay that multiple times a turn, can just decimate your opponent's hand, which is great. She's crazy. She's a really, really good card, especially in this deck. Qui-Gon Jinn's Ether Sprite is a special rarity card, which doubles the when played abilities whenever you have them. So again, has very clear synergies with what you're trying to do, and replay cards, getting their when played bonuses over and over again. Deepa Bilaba, I have no idea where she's from. I'm guessing she's a High Republic character, but
I think the artwork looks High Republic.
yeah, it figures. 5/7 Ambush Saboteur on 6 is pretty tasty, especially since you could then bounce her with Qui-Gon Jinn, having attacked her in with Ambush, gained the Force, bring her back to hand, and then play something else. Again, it just goes in with the overriding theme of the deck. And Keller and Beck is great for building out more things onto the board. You've got the when played ability, so if you bounce him and replay him, you get to do it over and over again. And the things that you play can just build you up a much wider board, and potentially, if you've been board cleared through Super Laser Blast or any other such thing, could be very useful. Qui-Gon Jinn's lightsaber is the only upgrade I've put in here, and I've kept it because it is Qui-Gon Jinn's lightsaber. You're always going to be having Qui-Gon out because he's the leader, and the power budget on cards that are tied to specific units is really quite crazy. +3, +1 for 2, and exhausting any other number of units with a combined cost of 6 or less is very good. Disturbance in the Force allows you to gain the Force and give a shield token to something for 1 resource, which is pretty good, because people are always going to be trying to kill your stuff. Neiman's Strike gets you a little bit of extra reach or clearance. You've got some high health units in here that could survive more than 1 attack, and being able to get an extra attack with them at an attack boost, potentially clearing other units, is potentially powerful. the Burden of Masters. There's a lot of Force units in this deck, so after they die, being able to get some use out of them and give it 2 experience to a unit that you're playing off the back of it could potentially upset the combat math and give you a bit more of a boost. And sneak attack in this deck is just crazy.
Sneak attack is the first thing that I saw that you added in.
Oh, god, yeah. For anybody who doesn't realise what this could do, the idea is here that you can play sneak attack for 2, you then play a unit from your hand that costs 3 less, it enters play ready, and at the start of the regroup phase defeat it. You don't have to defeat it if, after you've brought it in and it comes in ready, you then bounce it back to your hand using Qui-Gon's ability, and then play a lower cost unit for free, because that avoids you having to kill the unit that you've brought in at a discount through sneak attack. So yeah, that's the idea behind my version of this deck. I haven't got a list of what I've taken out for it, I must confess, but that's the thought behind all of the inclusions. I'd be tempted to put this together and give it a go. In fact, we have discussed about running the decks that we've built against each other in some webcams and recording them and streaming them and showing them up on here for you, our audience's benefit afterwards.
And it's doing pretty much what Qui-Gon does in the original build, so you're not having to change your playstyle too much. But that sneak attack is, I think it's very strong.
It's certainly a build around card for what you're doing, and it could work with literally any unit in the deck. So yeah. Anyway, should we take a look at what you've done?
I'm very excited. This is number one. I've cheated, which is always a good thing to do when given a task. I have put a legendary in there. My reasoning behind it is that I actually pulled a Qui-Gon on a pre-release, so I own this card, and therefore it's costing me no more to put it in there.
I see.
You can take them out if you want to, but it's a Qui-Gon deck with
you
one
put
copy
2
of
legendaries
Qui-Gon.
in this.
Where's the second one?
Starhawk in the sideboard.
Yeah, the Starhawk in the sideboard is because maybe there's some more things to do with this deck.
Yeah, and also, let's face it, the Starhawk is a cheap card.
I think it could be interesting to get the Starhawk and then when it's almost dead, put it back in your hand and then throw something out for less than 9. And yeah, let me run you through this. This is a lot of fun.
Take it away.
So ambush happened because I kept looking at how the deck was working, and I kept thinking, what is the best thing I can do with Qui-Gon? And the best thing I could do with Qui-Gon was kind of almost not ramp, but almost reverse ramp. So you're putting something out that is less good than what you put in. So what's the only benefit really of doing that is to have a damaged unit coming back to your hand that has ambush, and putting something out there that is just a body on the board that can do something later on in the game. So you're kind of always building your board and always trying to bring back your ambushed unit, kill your opponent's units with your ambush units, then bring them back to your hand to then do the same thing again a couple of turns later. That is the idea.
Sounds good.
So we've got Curious Porgs, or Curious Flock, in fact. Curious Flock is largely in there for the fact that it's a 1 cost, and you can throw it out by using Qui-Gon's ability right at the start of Qui-Gon's turn. It comes out if you get rid of a 2 cost, take the 2 cost back to your hand, and then you can play Curious Flock, tap all your resources, and then...
Oh, I see. So it's a way to cheat the restriction that says you have to play something that costs less than the unit you returned.
Exactly.
Very clever.
And then we've just got a bunch of 2-drops because really we're wanting to pick up the ambush cards. So in many ways, it's best to go through this list in reverse order of size, because what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to play out a unit, and then you're wanting to sort of bring something else out that costs less than it. The biggest things that you've got in this deck are the 7-drops, so Qui-Gon and Kylo Beck. They obviously do their thing, whatever they're going to do, and then the idea is to pull them back into your hand with with Qui-Gon's ability, and you can throw out things like Enfys Nest for 6. You can throw out Delapar. Oh, what is her name? Deepa.
Deeper Bilaba,
Deepa
whatever.
Bilal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one.
So again, another ambush unit that's cost 6. We've got good old Plo Koon, 3 of. He's absolutely brutal in this because usually you've got quite a lot of little force units out there to get him up to 3 units and to trigger his coordinate ability. Jedi Temple Guards, again, really good way of getting the force, and another unit that is going to ambush. And then at the 4-drop point, there's only one other ambush unit, which is in space,
Yep.
and that's just the Fireball, because it's a great space removal. If it survives, you can pull it back to your hand using Qui-Gon's ability. So
Yep.
that's kind of the ambushers. A couple of others of mention are Blue Leader in space, which can either be in space or on the ground, which is incredibly versatile for the deck. The Aztec Gunship is just a solid ship, and the main reason I've got 2 of them in there is because it costs 4. So you're getting 3 drops out when you pull it back into your hand with Qui-Gon's ability.
Mm-hmm.
And then the good old Falcon, 1 of, again, you can hide it in your resource pile if you want to, or you can play it from your hand. It's an ambush unit, and then you can put it back to your hand.
Yep. Although it's worth
And then
noting
resource it next turn if you wish.
you can't
So,
play him from Smuggle if you're doing Qui-Gon's leader ability, though, can you?
you can't.
Okay.
You can smuggle it out
Just normally, yeah.
just normally. So if you play it from your hand, you can then take it back into your hand using Qui-Gon's ability, put a 5-drop out using his ability, and then put the Millennium Falcon into your resource pile at the beginning of the next turn.
That's fair, because you've drawn it back in your hand and re-smuggled it. That makes sense. I've also noticed the blue leader as well. If you wanted to bounce a 4 back and then play a 3, you could then pay the extra as well to make it a 5/5 in either space or ground.
He is pretty horrible in this.
Awesome.
The leader
That didn't occur to me. Very nice.
does a lot of work. So you can, if you've got 2 left, and you let's say you attack out with the Azatuk, you kill 1 space unit, you use Qui-Gon's ability, you take the Azatuk back into your hand, you play out Blue Leader, you've still got let's say you're on your 6 resource turn. You then play out the Blue Leader, and you've got 2 resources left to put it on the put it on the ground if you want to.
5/5 ambush. Very nice.
Yeah,
In space or ground.
Yep.
Such a good card.
It's very good. Possible escape. So the events are very low in this construction.
Yep.
I just don't think it needs it, because you've got so many ambush and they effectively act like an event.
Yeah.
So you've got impossible escape, just really because it's a 1-drop and it gets you out of trouble. So there is 2 of them. Sneak attack for the exact same reason as you had it in, but I'm trying to do something else with the deck. So having it is great, but having 3 of them isn't what I'm looking to do.
Yep.
So this is a personal choice, but I put Waylay instead of the new yellow 4 costs. So yeah, I just think Waylay is, because you're using the Force so much to get in this build to get units that you have ambushed back into your hand, ready for next turn, then you'd rather have a Waylay there because you're not using the Force. And the Force in this is quite a precious resource.
So
I've got 2 U-Wing reinforcements.
Just quickly, that 4-cost card you were talking about, it's called the Will of the Force. It costs 4, it's only yellow. Return a non-leader unit to its owner's hand. You may use the Force, and if you do, they discard a random card from their hand.
So it's 4 cost, it's more versatile, but I just think in this you're never going to want to use the Force for that reason.
Yeah, especially if you're keeping the Force restricted or trying to use it more for Qui-Gon's ability. That makes sense not to have too many things that need the Force.
Yeah. If it's a 3-cost card, definitely put it in. But because it's a 4-cost card, I don't want to be spending 4 resources when I can spend 3 to do the same thing without the effect. U-Wing reinforcement, 2 of, just because it's U-Wing reinforcement and really, really handy for throwing lots of things out.
Absolutely.
and then taking them back into your hand with Qui-Gon and throwing more things out. Qui-Gon's lightsaber. Um, sorry, Master Qui-Gon, your lightsaber's not great. It's all right, but like I've seen cards that do a much better effect than it. Emphas Nest, for instance,
Hmm.
the 7-drop Emphas Nest, I think is better than his ability. So yeah, I've got better than the lightsaber's ability. So I've kept it to one in this just because you've got Qui-Gon in there. Yoda's lightsaber is a much better lightsaber than Qui-Gon's. It can be put onto anything that isn't a vehicle, and the thing does not have to have the Force to use the ability, but you simply use the Force and you heal through off your base.
Yep.
So I think in this build, Yoda's lightsaber is going to be better than Qui-Gon's, and then the must-have General's Blade to make everything much much cheaper. Um,
That
we
has to
haven't
go on a
really talked.
Jedi unit though, rather than a Force one. But it's a good amount of Jedi.
That is correct.
It's definitely a good
So
amount of Jedi in this. Yeah, that's
there
fair.
is there is enough. I mean, Gundy. We haven't talked about the small units.
Hmm.
So Gundy is a Jedi. Jedi Consular, shockingly enough, is a Jedi. The youngling Padawan, I think, is a Jedi.
Yep.
Obi-Wan is a Jedi,
Yep.
and we've heard about the other guys who are all ambush. I think the Jedi Temple Guard will be a Jedi. So yeah,
Yep.
General's Blade is an absolute must in this deck, and you can end up throwing out if you get the Jedi Consular and you get the Jedi's Blade, you can play stuff out for a very low cost indeed, and then use Qui-Gon's ability. You can see where this is going.
Can you stack the Consular in the General's Blade then? How does that?
Listen,
Because the Consular says play a unit when you use the action, and General Blade says the next unit you play. So you'd have to attack with General's Blade and then use the Consular. So yeah, you absolutely could. Good shout.
likelihood is your opponent will spot what you're doing and put some effort into killing the consular, and you'll be sad. But at the end of the day, if they're spending the time doing that, they're not hitting your base. So,
Yeah, especially if the General Blade is on something else. So yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, I would never put the Jedi Blade on the Jedi Consular. You
Yeah,
might as well not be a Jedi because you want to use both abilities.
exactly. Yeah, that makes sense. Cool.
Again, sideboard, I haven't really put a lot of thought into it. I put Nimen's Strike in or Neiman's Strike in there
Hmm.
because I think it's a great card and it's got a lot of potential, but I don't really know how quite yet. And the same is there with the Starhawk. I think the Starhawk might work in a deck which is cheating out quite a lot of things. So if you're bringing something back into your hand and playing an ambush unit,
Hmm.
you would normally be spending your resources on doing that. You might be able to still throw out the Starhawk as well
Hmm.
when you've got the Jedi's Consular and the General's Blade going. I think there might be something there, so I've kind of stuck it in the sideboard for now, and we'll see later. And then Sentinel, I think, has to remain in the deck because you get 3 of them in the Spotlight deck. But I would put it in the sideboard in this case because you've got so much ambush.
Yeah, it's not a special rated card. It is just a normal common, but I dropped it because I didn't think it had a lot of synergies with. It doesn't have any kind of when played effect. Was the reason why I dropped it from mine.
Both decks, Mark, I have put stuff in the sideboard that I want to play around with.
Yeah.
Um, because we chatted about this, 2 or 3 days ago
Yeah.
on Thursday before pre-release. It's been a very busy few days, having lots of fun with friends playing cards. So
Yep.
we have we put a little bit of time into this just to get these videos out. And I think Mull is going to be a very good fun deck to play, but I'm wondering whether there's something in Qui-Gon Jinn for the more competitive side.
Yeah. None of
Yeah.
not, this video and the Darth Maul one are not necessarily intended for the more hardcore competitive SWU player who can put this sort of stuff
No,
together themselves.
that
It's more
wasn't.
meant for a sort of like a more accessible casual audience who might be looking for an idea of what they want to do with decks that have caught their imagination, essentially.
Absolutely. Um, I just yeah, with the Qui-Gon deck, I've just shoved a bunch of cards in at the end just to see for later play.
Yeah, that's fair. So yeah, that about wraps up the thoughts that we've put into on taking the Qui-Gon Jinn Spotlight deck and expanding it out for play beyond what it comes with, using not horrifically expensive or legendary or rare cards. If you've got any thoughts on what we've done, if you think we put in something that's horrifyingly wrong, please tell us. If you've got ideas on what should be put in, again, we'd love to hear you in the comments below. If you've found some value or like what we've put in here, do please leave us a like and subscribe to the channel and all that kind of jazz. We all love it. It helps us all out and lets more people watch for all of our stuff because it puts them in their faces on the YouTube algorithm feed and all that kind of jazz. So yeah, coming up next after this, we are looking at doing webcam games using the decks that we've built on the Darth Maul and the Qui-Gon Jinn to see how they perform and just giving them a go and finding out what we've done essentially and how it feels being played. If there's anything else you'd like to see, let us know. Anything else you want to close out with, Andy?
I just want to say thank you. It's been great jumping on and doing this for the first time. I hope nobody noticed. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing the next one with you.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. Cheers for your time. Ta. Take care.
Bye.